finally got an interview for the dream job. And after working with him, I got it, and it was simple and it was easy.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed the journey.
Oh, has it helped? Yes, it absolutely has. It's definitely helped in knowing the market a lot better and knowing how to how to put myself out there. Like, I would never ever have touched my LinkedIn ever. I didn't see LinkedIn as a valuable resource at all. So in saying that, it already has proven to be.
Really what I say. I think you guys are great and change people's lives, and it makes a lot of difference.
You deliver at a very high level.
It was really enjoyable. You learn a lot. It was really easy going step by step.
You did? Just before Wendy do it. So that was, I think session 5, the interview session, if you ask me, was my favorite out of all the 6 sessions.
So it's not only helped me in my personal branding, but it's helped me now on the business side, where I feel very, very capable to go into,
Hey, super legends, superheroes, and superstars. My name is Dr. Dre, but yes, without the doctor. And you are tuned into another episode, a live episode of the Hot High podcast. And today, boom, boom, shake the room. I've got a very special guest. But before I get him out here, I just want to let you know that we're live on YouTube, live on Facebook, and live on LinkedIn. And if you guys are watching the replay, please put #replay. So this will help me in the back end to sort out all of the analytics. So this next guest, Mr. Paul Yeo. So we've been connected for quite a while. And recently I've joined an elite 0.1 mastermind where it's got some of the world's best 6- and 7-figure coaches. And what I've been doing, I've been meeting up with a lot of people, like doing like Zoom calls with a lot of members that are part of the group. And the call that I had with Paul about 2 or 3 weeks ago was just incredible, absolutely blew my mind. So I wanted him to come on today, share his story, what he does and how he helps his clients. So guys, grab yourselves a pen, grab yourselves a piece of paper, because we are about to tear it up. So without a warm welcome. Sorry, I forgot what I was going to say then. So with a big warm welcome, I want to welcome Mr. Paul Yeo.
Hey. How you doing? Thanks for that intro, man. That's so awesome.
Well, the pleasure is all mine. I just want to say thank you for coming on. I'm just really excited about you, like sharing your story and what you do. So do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So look, for me, I started off really, like the typical go to school, get a good job. Except I first started in the realm of science, and it was applied science around health sciences, which really, if I wanted to get a job, it means further studies, and I wasn't keen on doing further studies, to be honest. But yeah, then I got into racing motorcycles, which I absolutely loved.
You said racing motorcycles.
Racing motorcycles, yeah, absolutely. And that's really the first time I started applying a little bit more anyway of what we do and what we learn as coaches, NLP. And yeah, long story short, from there, of course, I wasn't going to make it to a professional level. So got to do something else, right? And that's where, like the influence really came from my little sister. She's 4 years younger. She followed the business stream, the commerce stream, and did finance, financial planning as her majors, and I think one more. I think could be economics. I can't remember what it was. And yeah, I thought, hey, if she could do it, like, hey, I can do it too. The only problem was I was not really good with money. In fact, the topic of money, when I hear it, especially coming from science, I kind of ran away from it. But yeah, I think for me, she made me believe that, hey, you know, if she could do it, so I could do it, right? Went into it, and one of my topics, retirement income streams, I sat in front. I'm normally like that guy who sits in the back, you know,
Like,
cool kids, yeah. I sat in front. I was like just glued on it. I never thought about these things before. Never thought about, hey, you know, what's going to happen when we stop working. So that was huge for me. So I decided I wanted to go down the stream of being a financial planner. And of course, I was given the advice to say to start, rather than starting directly in the bank, how about you start in superannuation? So superannuations is like, you know, a retirement fund, or like in the US they call it 401k. So I did that, and that's where I gained a lot of exposure, and also giving advice to a lot of people all across the nation. And before I left, I sort of did a quick count, like how many people I've actually spoken to and given advice. And it was hitting 4,000. I go, okay.
Whoa. Yeah. So
it's
not 400, 4,000, 4,000, not 400, 4,000. That's huge.
It was over the phone. So over phone advice. So in a day, I could actually reach out to a lot of people. And, you know, like after leaving that and reflecting on my journey, I started to see, there are certain patterns of behavior, certain language people use that explains the reason why they are where they are. And that's what got me really fascinated into the world of NLP. Of course, after leaving the superannuation fund, the retirement fund, I went into the banks, and I worked for two of the major banks here in Australia. And that's where I really started to see deeply. As a financial planner, we got to understand our clients really deeply, to the point like we even know their dog's name, right? And and just understanding the finances. Of course, we're able to look at their transactions as well, especially if all their bankings are done in just that bank. And again, more patterns emerge as to why they are where they are. And you know, it's always been a curious thing for me. You know, I love behavioral finance. I love you know, understanding people. I love talking to people, as you know, we spoke you know, a few weeks ago. So went into that field. I did really well in my first and second year. Went into the world of Tony Robbins, and that's really where I thought, hey, you know, exactly, exactly, Tony Robbins. And I thought to myself, I remember by this time I moved to the second bank, and I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool if I did the work that he's doing, inspiring people and really helping people, like not just in one area, but in every area of their life. And I knew finances does that anyway. You know, you get your finances right, other areas would improve. I won't say it will improve, like it can improve, because it's a lot of it is about understanding yourself, like especially when it comes to investing money, when it comes to managing money. A lot of it, I can list out, okay, these are the things you do, and not everyone's going to follow it, because the fact is we will do what we do based on what's driving us, right?
That's right.
What we used to do. Absolutely. So that was really the next sort of point. Of course, what sort of pushed that journey a lot further for me was, you know, I was on the way to building my own financial freedom. Got married, then had a child, right? Like my firstborn. And my firstborn, it was not until she was 18 months old that we realized there was something wrong with her. Like there was a, you know, genetically at least, you know, she has Angelman Syndrome. And in fact, tomorrow is National Angelman Syndrome day.
Oh wow.
15th of Feb. So yeah, there is no cure at the moment, although there's work being done around that. But yeah, that really shifted everything I thought I knew, and I thought.
So Paul, can you just explain what that syndrome is for anyone that's like listening or watching?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. So Angelman syndrome is it is chromosome number 15, held on the maternal side. Think of it as you have a little SD card or a little one of those thumb drive, USB drives, right? And say it's all loaded with music. You're just missing one song in chapter number 15, and that was enough to cause a particular enzyme in the brain not to be produced, and then that causes a lot of complications because it's neurological. And one of it is, well, the one that hurts me the most is seizures. So most Angelman kids or adults even suffer seizures for the rest of their lives. So they're on medication for the rest of their lives. Walking and movement itself, because it's neurological, tend not to be great. In fact, I know some who had never walked their entire life. They were never able to walk. We were lucky that Sophie, my daughter, she walked at age 3. And no speech as well, or very little speech. They could probably say, maximum 10 words. So you basically have a toddler in an adult's body for the rest of their lives, which is devastating. I don't wish that upon anyone. But yeah, that was our fate.
Yeah, thank you for explaining. So sorry because I interrupted. So so you had Sophie, and then what happened next?
Yeah, so man, being a parent, and I'm pretty sure your viewers, some of the parents I know a lot of parents. When you have a kid, right? You think that your life is going to go one direction. Yeah. You have this, I guess, preconceived ideas of what their life's going to be, that they're going to get married, going to have kids, all of that. Well, it's kind of that dream was just ripped out of us, and it was a lot of things we had to unpack within ourselves, right? Sadness, grief, anger, all of that emotions that we go through. So that really pushed me, and definitely my wife, to rock bottom. And from there, I went into the world of Tony Robbins, seeking answers. And that's when I realized, from the first UPW to date with Destiny, right? Man, like I read my goals. Like recently I moved some stuff, the books were there, I read my goals. And the first goal was very much in line with what my goals were, which is looking after myself, my family, get financial freedom so I can do whatever I want to do. By Date with Destiny, just something ignited in me. And I realized, hey, why do it just for myself? Because there's a lot of people out there, and not people with, like in our situation with a child with special needs, but a lot of people out there are trapped. And I remember this very, very vividly when I worked in the city for this retirement fund, right? Yeah. And taking the train in, doing the 9 to 5, and seeing everyone going up the escalators after they leaving the station, right? And I'm just thinking, I felt like we're sheeps going to somewhere. And I said to myself, man, when I'm 60 years old, like if I'm still doing this, I even told my wife, if I'm still doing this, just end it for me. Of course, I don't advocate that. But yeah, that means I screwed up somewhere, right? So yeah, why do it just for myself? I've got the skills. I've learned so much, through my journey. Like people need to have this in their lives,
They do, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that's all my story. And yeah, of course, I left the banks. They actually gave me a redundancy, which was really nice.
Boom. Yeah, love that. Yeah.
So I started my own business, and
Mm-hmm.
that was when I met Richmond. Richmond is currently my coach, of course, our coach now.
Yeah.
And man, like I promised my then business partner that we're gonna leave the bank. Well, I was forced to leave, but we were going to anyway. And I say, look, we're in this together. We're gonna set up a financial planning firm, which we did. But after meeting Richmond, I realized, man, remember I said wouldn't it be cool to do the things like to impact people the way Tony Robbins does? And like, coaching, and I didn't know much about the world of coaching then. Coaching is the way to go. So I was in a way conflicted, right? Like, here I am starting a new business, and here I am, man, coaching is so cool. Anyway, I signed up with Richmond, and that was like the end of that, really. Like, I just fell in love with coaching, the impact I could do for people, help them. And financial planning was kind of, COVID sort of forced my hand a little bit quicker. It was expensive. It was expensive to run a financial planning business with all the regulations. I'm paying just sunk costs about 20 grand, probably a little bit more than that before I even see money in my bank account. And this is just for regulations, right? I mean, if I had 20 grand right now, I'll put in the coaches to help me, strengthen my mindset, or even like for myself, I have a wealth coach as well. So even though I'm in this field, I just see the importance of having someone looking at my blind side,
It's important.
Yeah. So it's like a jar. Like, it's like we live in a jar that we can't read the labels from the inside. We just need someone to just say, hey, that's the point there. That's the point there. These are where you should be working in your life. It just wasn't worth the risk that I'm taking. Wasn't worth the money that I'm paying, definitely. So made the call last year in September. Well, before that, but in September, I handed in my license. No looking back. 100% into coaching now. 100% loving what I'm doing.
Boom! I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. All right. So, brilliant. All right. Can we take a step back? So you mentioned about that you weren't very good with your money, and your sister got into commerce and things like that. So with your parents, was that like an influence, like with your parents? Was there something that happened? Was your sister good with money and you weren't? Or how did that sort of translate?
I wouldn't say I wasn't good at money. I knew how to spend it well, but I knew how to save as well, right? I was really good at saving. I was really good. I think because there's something about, science, efficiency, even racing helped me a lot. Because number one, racing is expensive, so you kind of want to conserve your money so you can blow it on the racetrack, right? So, racing track, right? Not on the horses when people get racetrack. And it's all about efficiency. Like all that little bits will help in becoming faster or becoming better, or saving more. So in terms of my family, well, mom and dad split up early. Mom was left with 700 ringgit, right? We came from Malaysia, ringgit. So ringgit back in the day in Aussie terms, it was maybe half, so $350 in her bank account. In US terms, it's probably like a third of that. So whatever that works out, like $200. Just over. So that's all she had in the bank account with 3 kids. And my dad, of course, left. Well, he was still around, but he never contributed not a cent to child maintenance, right? And look, I don't blame him for what he did. Back then I did, but now, but mom has never showed us that there was lack. In fact, mom, at that point, until she was 40, she hit financial independence. So by the time she brought us here to Australia, she was already financially free.
Oh
But
man, what an
she
example!
Yeah, she worked hard for it though. She worked hard. She invested her money. She told me one of the things that stuck out for me. Actually, a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
One is when I was 9, she says, everything is a state of mind. I never quite understood that.
Yeah.
But then my grandpa, her dad, actually explained to me. He said, do you know your mind can bend metal? Right? It's that state that you can get into and you can do, you can do amazing things. And he meditated as well. So he taught me how to meditate at that age.
Wow.
Which was so amazing because I used to wake up sometimes, especially when you live in a hot country, and you're in Brisbane, so you know what hot and humid's like, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't hydrate yourself, you're gonna get dehydrated, and you can get that headache.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not very good at drinking water. And when I was a kid, even now, I got to remind myself, put a timer on. And yeah, I remember meditating, and the headache went away. So it's like, wow, there's something to meditation, which now I know there's a lot to meditation.
Yeah.
So I've got really positive influence in that sense about what's possible, believing in myself, and even with money, because it was not about lack, but because mom worked so much that I had these negative feelings towards money, because it's like money took my mom away.
Oh yes. Yeah.
So because of that, I grew up and I said, okay, let's get a degree, let's get a good job, let's earn money, but not learn about money, which is ridiculous. Yeah. So that was my upbringing, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are like that. They either follow their parents as their role model, especially when it comes to money, or they go against their parents, which is what I did.
All right. So, can you tell us about how you help your clients and what you do for them?
Yeah. So this is the thing, right? Like we have very specific laws in terms of giving advice. Without a license, you're not allowed to give advice. Right. I agree with that because imagine your plumber who knows a little bit about investing comes and start giving you financial advice. That's going to be a problem. So yeah, I absolutely respect the law with that. Now the problem with financial planning is a lot of it is tied with a financial product. So essentially, to make bank, to make money, you're selling a product. Most planners are doing that. There are some out there who are selling strategies, but most of them are selling product. So the way I work with my clients is more around financial education. And they can bring me scenarios, like their scenarios, for example. Like recently, I had a client of mine who thought he would probably not be able to buy his first home until the end of the year, in 12 months. And we just broke everything down. And he realized that, hey, actually, I'm working in the city. I'm living in the city or very close to the city. I don't need this car, which is like a brand new car, right? Luxury car.
Yeah.
So, and by selling that car, that was the gap he required for the deposit for a home.
Awesome.
So yeah, we talk about it. It's more bringing the awareness and understanding, also understanding, your blueprint. Your, like what I mentioned for myself, my upbringing and how my upbringing influenced me with money. So we do that by understanding your upbringing. It's like why are we doing the things we do? Or because mom and dad did that, or because grandpa grandma did that, without actually questioning. So by understanding, again, think of it as, coaching. They're in the jar and I can see the labels. I can see what's going on.
Yeah, I love that
Bring
analogy.
that to awareness. Yeah, bring that to awareness, understand. So this is one thing that in financial planning, we didn't do. It's more, you come here with your money, you come here with your problem. You see us, 2, 3, maybe 4 times. We'll give you a bill. We give you a recommendation. We implement it for you. So whilst it's good because something got implemented, and that's really the value, where the value comes in, it's often tied with a financial product. So this is where biases come in, right? Like conflicts of interest. Because in order for me to make money from this client, there has to be a financial product.
Yeah, gotcha.
So they tie that in, they package it, whatever they do. And what does the client get? The client got a fish. The client didn't learn how to fish.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and that was one of my experiences with, one client particularly. I remember, he said he wants to retire. He said this is how he wanted to retire, and I said this is a recommendation, and he didn't follow the recommendation. That's because in the mind, we haven't even worked with the mind. We haven't worked with, like what is stopping this person from putting more money in.
Gotcha. Yeah. So
by addressing that, of course, later I found out that the reason why he didn't follow up and did all of this, because he was no longer in love with his wife, and in fact, he left his wife.
Oh, wow. So it sounds like it goes a lot deeper, like on people's 100%. Money stories, and
100%. He, of course, putting in for retirement with a wife that he had known. Well, probably at the time he didn't know. He didn't realize that this was a problem, right? And this is where coaching can uncover things like this, and of course, maybe even having that difficult conversation. Sorry. Having that difficult conversation early could have avoided all of this, So, it goes really deep. It goes really deep.
Yeah, I love that. So, my parents used to say, they probably used to say a lot of things. One of them that really stood out was like, money doesn't grow on trees. I used to hear that. Yeah, hear that a lot. And and I'm sure they used to say, like when I was a kid and asking for money, like, we can't afford this or that kind of thing. And those things at the time you don't realize, but they stick with you. And then I believe that most people have got like some sort of money story. And when you're trying to get to that next level, like, as you know, there's a block, and that's something you need to work through.
Yeah.
Right.
I actually like what you said, actually, just very quickly. If I can.
Go for it. Love it. Yeah.
Like, one thing, definitely question everything. Like, question everything you even understand, not just about money, even about life. Don't just take people's words for what they are, just because they're their parent. I mean, all parents, of course, I like to think they're wanting to do the best for their kids, right? But question it. Like, money don't grow from out of trees, right? Or the money's not grown from trees, whatever it is. Maybe ask yourself, how can I make money grow from trees? What is my metaphorical tree that constantly give me fruits, which is money? Question it.
Abundance. Yeah, be curious. I love that. Absolutely love that. All right. So what's the best way for people to get hold of you?
Best way, connect with me on Facebook. You can, of course, send me an email as well. I can leave you that information. My Facebook group, Your Wealth Game Plan, which is on my my Facebook profile. So that's the best way. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, except I check that maybe once in a fortnight. So don't expect me to get back to you immediately. But Facebook's the best. Messenger's so useful now.
Brilliant. And for people that are listening on like Spotify and Apple and all the other podcast platforms, what's your email address?
Oh yes, hello at paultyo.com. So it's Paul T for Tango, Yo, YEO.com. Yeah. So it's hello at paultyo.com. It's easy.
I love that. All right, very last question. So as you know, I'm obsessed with like dad jokes, puns, gifs, memes, like everything. So do you have either a dad joke, a quote, something inspirational, motivational, something empowering, or something of value to leave us with?
Okay. I'm pretty bad with my dad jokes, so I won't even go there.
No judgment. Yeah.
What I can say is, when we look at ourselves in terms of how do we get better at money, is really who are we becoming? Who are we becoming so we can attract that money that we want in our life, so we can handle that money we want for our lives. So this is the thing about questioning everything. When you question everything, then you can start finding the answers and start becoming who you need to be to handle that sort of money.
Somebody call Harry Potter, because that was magic. So Paul, I just want to say a massive thank you to you. And what I really appreciate is when we caught up like 2 or 3 weeks ago, you were just so real, like genuine, like honest, and like just everything about your story. So I commend you. I appreciate you, and like thank you so much for coming on today and like sharing like your story.
Hey, thanks for inviting me. I really love what you're doing here.
Appreciate it.